What is going on, guys? We are back here with a video, and today we will talk about the new restrictions in the One Piece card game, specifically in the English version, right? This only affects the English meta of One Piece and will be effective July 28th. So the first card that is getting restricted to one card is the Edward Newgate, the Whitebeard character. And we all know that card and love or hate that card, especially if you're not playing red. You might not have good memories playing against that card. And it's very, very understandable. And yeah, so the reason that Bandai is putting out for that restriction is that when that card is combined with the two leaders that are Whitebeard and Zoro, it increases greatly the durability of the leader, especially because they get an increase of 2000 power until the start of the next turn. And for Whitebeard, you get the additional effect of not taking one life with your effect. So that is very, very good, especially if you are a Whitebeard leader, because you get the 2000, but with already your 6000 attack or power, I should say, makes you go up to 8000. So that is essentially a free guard point that you get to your leader without paying a cost, only by playing the 9 cost Kaido, not Kaido, Whitebeard. So yeah, it's a very, very interesting restriction. I think it's an understandable restriction, especially because red can easily get the momentum of the game and be ahead of your opponent. And when you are already ahead of your opponent and you start dropping not only one, but multiple Whitebeards in a row, it gets really, really hard for your opponent to do anything about it. And I'm not going to say that other colors don't have a way to deal with the Whitebeard, because they do. It's just very difficult. You have to have a lot of cards to deal with the Whitebeard character, and it's not easy. You know, you're not always going to have the ideal hand to deal with the Whitebeard when they drop him. And yeah, so I think it's an understandable change or restriction, and especially with the two other reasons that Bandai pointed out, which is the when you use the cards Radical Beam and Guard Point, in addition of the Whitebeard character, that means you get to increase your power by 5 to 6000 power. So that is insane. So that means that when you drop your 9 cost Whitebeard and you have 1 Dawn left, your opponent will have to swing for 11 or 12 to match your power level. So they'll have to commit at least 7 Dawn, like 6 to 7 Dawn, and potentially more if they want to actually do damage to you. So that is already insane. Like, yeah, it is hard to deal with. Basically, when they drop the Whitebeard, you're just focusing on trying to clear the board, and even at that, you have a hard time because they have a lot of cards in hand and they have the 1 Dawn for the event. So makes it for a very hard situation, and if you're not able to impact his board, then next turn he's just going to steamroll, right? And the last reason that Bandai put out is the Searcher Ezo. So not only do you put a character on the board, you get to search for a Whitebeard Pirate type card. So yeah, so like, I mean, just with the Ezo and with the Whitebeard Pirates event, if you play 4 Ezo, 3 to 4 Whitebeard Pirates, so you have 8 like 7 to 8 chances to getting that card, but you also have the number of Whitebeard characters that you have, right? So it's just like the probability of getting the Whitebeard are very, very high. So I think that the restriction on the Whitebeard character, I think it's a good thing, because it is still very easy to search. It's a very easy card to search because you have, like I said, eight potential searchers plus the one the Whitebeard character that you have in your deck. So yes, it's not going to be a card that you win more in your game, but it is still a very good and viable card to put at one. So yeah, so that's for Whitebeard. And then the next one here is Marco. So Marco, again, it's a Whitebeard pirate, and it's the 4-cost blocker Marco, which gets to be revived by trashing a Whitebeard pirate card from your hand if you have 2 or less life. So the reason behind the Marco is pretty similar to the Whitebeard character, is that when combined with Newgate and Zoro leaders, it makes a boost the durability of the deck and leader. So if you combine, and especially if you combine it with Guard Point and Radical Beam, and also it's also searchable with Ezo and also with Whitebeard pirates. They don't include the Whitebeard pirates in the options, but I think it's because it's just an event. So like you use an event to go search for a character, as opposed to Ezo that you drop a character on the board and you get to swing with him, using Makino, or there's another card that also boosts the attack of a 1 cost. So yeah. So for Marco, I think it's I don't think the Marco was really necessary to put it at 1. I think, and like correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in Yu-Gi-Oh! There are cards that are restricted to 2, and I think that the Marco could be one of those cards. I think 1 is a bit too much, but 2 could be very fair for the red leaders, because if you have 2 Marcos, like it's hard to deal with, and yes, I agree with Guard Point and with Radical Beam, it's very hard to deal with, because if you drop everything, if you drop the 9-cost, like if you have a Marco already on the field and you drop the 9-cost Whitebeard, like it makes it really hard for your opponent to attack, to simply attack, because if they attack the leader, they have to go up to like 11 to 12,000 just to be even. But like if they commit that much dawns to an attack, you can simply block with Marco and then just discard 1 card. So the combination of the 2 is really, really, really strong. But I think that we have enough either events or characters to deal with the 4-cost Marco. So I think putting it at 1 is a bit too much, but that's just my opinion. And then the last card is Radical Beam. Radical Beam is probably the best counter event in the game, because it is simply a very, very easy to go down to 2 life and survive, right? And again, Bandai using the same or similar reasons as the 2 first cards is when combined with Whitebeard and Zoro, this card becomes really, really strong, and especially because they also have Guard Point. So with Whitebeard, it's again, it's very easy to go down to 2 life, especially with the ability, because you draw 1 life every end turn. And then with Zoro, you can just simply take damage as they have been doing. Zoro players, at least in my locals, have been taking a lot of life to be able to have a lot of cards in hand and have the flexibility that they have in the deck, right? They have a lot of flexibility in the deck, especially with all the searchers, and all the characters with great effects. So the more cards they have in hand, the better. So getting down to 2 life is actually the strategy that the Zoro players go for. So I can see why Radical Beam has been put down to 1, because one down for 4,000 counter is really strong. And again, it's a question of the combination of all these cards together makes it really broken. So that's why I think maybe the Radical could be something similar to the Marco. I think I would put the Radical Beam to 2, the Marco to 2, and then the Whitebeard to 1. So that way you reduce the amount of situation that you'll have with all the 3 cards combined, right? Because now, like, since they have so many searchers, they'll probably like bottom deck one of the cards, so it'll reduce the probability of having the perfect scenario when playing all 3 cards together. So yeah, so that's my opinion for the restriction. I think it's going to be interesting to see what people do with red. I feel like it's going to become more of a rush meta, the same way that it was for OP2, sorry. And yeah, so people are going to have to adapt. I don't think, hopefully if it's, well, I hope that if it's really a rush meta, I hope that the other colors are more equipped to deal with the aggression that is going to come with these changes. Because I think that's maybe not the only way that red can still be a top contendant in the meta, but I think it's certainly one of the best ways. And yeah, so that's it for this video. So make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Generally, I put out gameplay and deck profiles, but from time to time, I'll try to keep up with news like this. And leave a like if you agree with the restriction, if you think it's fair, or if you disagree. You know, like, people are gonna disagree with the changes because a lot of people are playing red, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are gonna be sad about this change. And leave a comment, let me know if you think this is going to break red, or if red has more than enough to come back from this restriction and still be one of the top decks in the format. All right, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.